The deeper you walk into silence, the louder the past begins to scream. Morning in the village, but no sunlight. The students awaken in the village square to find that morning has come. Yet there's no sun in the sky, just a strange gray twilight, unmoving. The air feels colder. Adara notices her phone battery, which was dead the night before, is now fully charged, but the time is stuck at 0 o'clock. Tari walks alone behind the huts and discovers a second school bus, half-rusted and covered in vines. Same model, same plate number. A black bird circles above them, but never lands. Brian gets irritated and demands they all leave. He insists they retrace their steps and head back to the road. Emeka simply stares at the sky and mutters, "We're no longer where we think we are." The students decide to return through the forest using the path they came from. But with each step forward, something strange happens. The trees shift position. The trail folds over. Amina hears whispers in the wind, whispers that repeat her prayers backward. She sees footprints of Chuka reappear in the sand ahead, moving in circles, like he never escaped. Chuka's laughter echoes faintly through the woods, followed by a long scream. They walk for over an hour, and end up back at the same village. But this time, the village looks older, cracked, as if abandoned for 100 years. Inside one of the huts, Tari finds a mirror covered with black cloth. Curious, he pulls it off. The mirror shows Emeka smiling, but Emeka is not even in the room. Suddenly, he starts bleeding from his ears. He collapses, clutching his chest. Amina screams and starts reciting protective verses. The mirror cracks, and behind the students, on the wall, a sentence appears in blood. "Leave one behind, or none shall leave." Panic breaks out. Brian accuses Emeka of hiding something. Emeka walks out without a word. Fola sits alone near the fire pit, remembering her first day in school. But the memory begins to distort. She sees her friends sitting in class, but they are all headless. A teacher writes on the board, "You all were never real." Suddenly, she wakes up in the village square, shaking. Was it a dream? The others don't remember going to sleep. In fact, they insist Fola had been standing the whole time, whispering to herself. Nightfall without warning. The sky turns black instantly, no sunset, just instant darkness. The fire reignites on its own. The children in white reappear, whispering among themselves. 7 remain. Only 6 may leave. One of the village children approaches and hands Z a folded note. He opens it and reads aloud. "You will be next if you remember too much." He looks up, but the child is gone. Suddenly, the bell atop the shrine rings on its own, and they all turn to see Chuka standing at the edge of the forest, with completely black eyes. Even the stars seemed to withdraw, swallowed by a sky that had turned from indigo to a murky crimson. The bell in the center of the strange village stood tall and rusted, swaying slightly without wind, letting out a low, eerie creak like a groan from another world. Amina sat cross-legged beside the cold fire pit, fingers tightly gripping her prayer beads. She whispered scriptures softly, but her voice trembled. Her eyes were shut until they snapped open. A shadow moved just beyond the dying firelight. It wasn't an animal. It was a girl in a torn school uniform. Her face was pale, blood-stained, and wrong. Her mouth didn't move, but Amina heard her name being whispered again and again. "Amina, Amina." She blinked and the girl was gone. Elsewhere, Tari sat alone by a broken wall, flipping through his sketchbook. He turned to a new page, and froze. It was a drawing he didn't remember making. A human figure, hung upside down in the forest, head split, eyes open, and staring straight at the viewer. Below it were scribbled words in thick, frantic strokes. "One must stay, or none will ever leave." He showed it to Brian and Fola. But when they looked, the page was blank. He watched quietly and muttered, "It's already started." The group had walked the same forest path for hours, yet the village always reappeared before them. Frustrated, Brian kicked a nearby tree. "We're walking in circles." "No," said Emeka softly, his voice cracking the silence like lightning. "The village is walking around us." They soon came upon something new. A massive wooden archway, draped with vines and strange hand-carved symbols. Blood stains darkened the wood, scrawled across the top in something that looked freshly written. Brian laughed. These people watch too much Netflix. But Chuka was already crying again. "I want to go home." Suddenly, a scream cut through the village like a blade. Adara was gone. Her phone lay on the ground, its flashlight still on. Tari picked it up. A recording had just ended. They played it back. It showed Adara walking alone, calling for network, brushing her hair. Then static. Then a voice. She didn't believe, so we took her reflection. The video ended with Adara's shadow. being dragged across the wall by something invisible, while her body never appeared again. Chuka threw up. Paranoia exploded. Brian accused Emeka of knowing more than he was saying. Fola sided with Brian, holding a stick like a weapon. Emeka didn't flinch. I didn't take her, he said. But she didn't belong here. Z, the quiet one, finally stood tall and said, one of us isn't who we think. The others turned to him. What are you saying? Fola asked, but he didn't answer. Instead, he walked toward the far end of the village, where the forest hummed like it was breathing. The world was broken now. No more birds, no more sun. The trees around the village had twisted into unnatural angles, crooked like the arms of ancient monsters reaching for the sky. The wind whispered names no one had spoken aloud. The students were 6 now. V was gone. Adara too. Amina sat by herself, staring at her own name tag in her trembling hands, the one found at the altar. If this is mine, she whispered, then am I already dead? No one answered. They couldn't, because no one had answers. That night, they stayed inside a hut Emeka had quietly led them to. No one asked how he knew it was there. A fire flickered. Shadows danced. Suddenly, a loud snap echoed from outside. Chuka jumped. No, no, no. Fola grabbed a stick. It's probably an animal. Brian stood up. I'm done waiting. We need to find the road. He stormed outside. Emeka followed, silent as a shadow. They walked to the village square. The bell tower was gone. In its place was a tall, faceless wooden figure, with a stitched-up school bag in its hands. Brian stepped forward. That's mine. Before anyone could move, the ground cracked beneath his feet. A voice thundered from beneath the earth itself. The mask you wear is not who you are. Brian screamed as roots burst from the ground, wrapping around his limbs and dragging him downward. Fola and Emeka pulled at him with all their strength, but the voice came again, deeper now. If you must live, reveal your truth. And suddenly, Brian stopped struggling. He looked up, eyes burning with tears. Then, I lied. I'm not rich. My dad's dead. My mum's a cleaner. I wear fake clothes so you all think I'm something. I was scared you'd never respect me. The roots paused, loosened. The voice hissed again. Good. And just like that, they released him. Brian fell to the ground, gasping. The stitched school bag dropped open, revealing something shocking inside. Z's drawing book. But the drawings had changed. Each page now showed them, but with monstrous versions of themselves, fangs, shadows for faces, blood in their eyes. One of you is already claimed. One of you is already one of us. Back in the hut, Tari whispered to Amina. Do you think Z knew something? Amina nodded slowly. He knew more than he told us. Tari opened his own notebook again. This time, he saw the faceless wooden figure, sketched with symbols around it. But he hadn't drawn it. There were words beside it. You are the gate. You are always the gate. He dropped the book. Just then, Emeka stepped inside. His face looked different, colder, and for the first time, Amina saw a black symbol, glowing faintly on Emeka's neck. A symbol that matched the one from Tari's notebook. You've seen it now, Emeka said. Everyone turned. You were never supposed to see it, but now you do. His voice changed. It echoed. Deeper, older, not human. Amina gasped. You're one of them. But Emeka smiled. No. I'm worse. I'm the one they fear. The fire blew out. Darkness swallowed the hut. And in the distance, the bell rang. Even though it was gone. Once, twice. Silence. The story is getting more captivating and tougher. If you haven't, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Kindly do now to motivate you to serve you better. Don't also forget to press notification, so that you can get notified as soon as we drop new video. Press like button, comment when what you love about the story and when you will like us to drop the next part. See you in the next video. Bye bye.